Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
All right, welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim, and our guest today is Sarah. So, Sarah, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Sure. I'm Sarah. Nice to be here with you. I'm in Austin, Texas, and I'm the founder and CEO of Poppylist. It's a simplified baby registry platform.
Awesome. So, can you tell us more about Poppylist and just how you got the idea for it?
Yeah. When I was probably 12, 13 weeks pregnant with my now 4-year-old daughter, that was around the time I started, tinkering and playing with the idea of building my baby registry. And it was pretty much my entire pregnancy when I had the idea for Poppylist. I just thought that my own personal experience working with the platforms that existed were so outdated, commercialized. They were cumbersome to use for both like the registrant and the gift giver. And then I ordered our crib, right? And I was so excited that we got our first crib. It was like our first piece of nursery furniture. And I assembled it with my husband. I sent a picture to my sister and her response was, "Why does that look like a dog bed for Tank?" And Tank was our like Boston Terrier growing up, right? So turns out, despite having spent 30, 40, 50 hours building my registry, I still made a costly purchasing decision because it was a mini crib. I didn't even know that was a thing. It wasn't a full-size crib. So there were so many unique experiences that I had building my own registry that's really where my idea came from, because I didn't like the experience I had that millions of women have every year. So
What was that process like? I mean, it's one thing to sit there and say that you have an idea, but it's different to actually go and execute it. So are you a developer? Did you build it out yourself? What did that look like for you?
So when I had this idea, I was actually still on maternity leave from my previous company that I worked for, Rackspace. They're headquartered in San Antonio. It was like an IT hosting company. And I went back to work 3 months after leave and sort of just iterated and ideated on this idea any free chance that I had. And then I told my husband, I was like, listen, I think I really want to just pursue this full time. I don't know what it takes to start a business. I don't have a business degree. I'm a journalism major. My entire career had been in events in some capacity. So 6 months after I returned from maternity leave, I quit and enrolled. The first thing I did was I enrolled in the Entrepreneurial Center of Austin. And it was this 4-week course on the book, The Lean Startup Method. And that was really my first introduction to entrepreneurship and what it could look like, what it might take. I am not a developer by any means. I have a technical co-founder, but yeah, I just started to immerse myself anywhere I could, right? I changed who I was following on Twitter. I enrolled in the YC startup school. I went to the Entrepreneurial Center of Austin. I started making asks of people if they would introduce me to someone. I attended Techstars Austin demo days just to hear other people's ideas and maybe meet people that were there. So luckily, Austin's such a great startup city. I just found myself basically attending anything or following anyone I possibly could.
Makes sense. So in terms of actually launching this, so what did that look like for you? What has been the way that you've been able to get the word out about the product?
Yeah, so gosh, it took almost 2.5 years for us to iterate on the actual product itself. The very first MVP, if we even want to call it that, was a parent type quiz that I built in Typeform. And it basically was a 10-question quiz, which we still have. You could come take the quiz. It was for free. And based on your answers, we would identify you as one of 5 parent types. You could be the minimalist, the tech savvy, the practical, the cost conscious, or the environmentalist parent. And based on your parent type, we would recommend 42 products. And that quiz had thousands of people take it within the first month. So I was like, okay, so there's something here. But then over time, as our product iterated and once we launched the registry, our first customers came from Reddit threads. I was joining Reddit threads about baby products. And then I would just be oh, well, have you guys heard of this registry company? We launched 2 different times on Product Hunt. I joined every possible pregnancy mom dad Facebook group imaginable. I've been kicked out of most of them, but you got to start somewhere. Social media, obviously we acquired a lot of our first customers from social media, not being afraid to ask friends and family if they know someone that's pregnant. I mean, I feel like we exhausted every possible free channel first.
So, like, can you just talk more about like what's the business model? Like, how exactly are you monetizing this platform?
Yeah. So I'm not going to give too much details away, but basically what makes us really different, we're a universal baby registry. That's not unique to us. That's like table stakes, right? Like you have to be able to add any product from any e-commerce site to your registry. So we're a universal registry for one. But a few things that make us really different, and then I can share how we monetize is one, we're the only registry that allows people to exchange a gift before it's shipped. So when someone comes to your baby registry and buys you a high chair, they're technically just securing that high chair for you. So that money is sitting in a Stripe account. And let's say you live in a studio apartment in New York City and you don't have the space to store your high chair for 6 months. Sorry, that's delayed delivery. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's say you have all these swaddles on your baby registry and your aunt's already bought them for you, right? And you're like, it's time for you to fulfill your gift. And you're like, oh, I've had plenty of time to think through all of this stuff. I actually don't want it anymore. So right before you go to fulfill your item, there's a pop-up that says, are you sure you still want this? And if you change your mind, we're not going to tell your gift giver that you changed your mind, and you can exchange it for a gift card instead of like equivalent to the same value it's purchased for Amazon, Target, or Visa gift card. So you can exchange any gift before it's shipped. And then what I was alluding to earlier, we also offer delayed delivery. So like I was saying, if you live in a high rise in New York City and you don't want to store your high chair for 6 months, we leave those decisions up to you. So we're the only baby registry that allows people to exchange a gift before it's shipped, delayed delivery. Obviously universal, there's funds on there. People can contribute monetary funds to, I don't know, diapers, what have you. And then so it's completely free for registrants to use. We're also the only registry where brands can't pay to play, right? That was part of my experience. Like I just felt like I was inundated with ads, like nonstop. I just could not decipher between like must-haves versus nice to have. So brands can't pay us, Poppylist, to be listed in our product catalog. We vet those products and source them from moms and dads. So there's two ways that we make money right now. There's more than two, but our two biggest are, we take a sliding scale commission. So we know all of the sites that will charge for shipping and handling and whatnot. So it's free for the registrants, but when someone purchases you a gift off your baby registry, it's a sliding scale commission based on the item they're buying you. So we will take a small percentage from each item purchased. Number one is how we make money. Number two, when it's time to fulfill those items, most of the time we have affiliate programs where we can go fulfill those items. So in some ways we can double dip on monetizing it. And then, there's other ways, like we're exploring, email newsletter sponsorships or sponsoring our webinar series and so forth. But right now, those are the two number one ways we monetize Poppylist.
So what is the biggest challenge that you're facing in the business right now?
God, I mean, it never ends. Like we are new, we're a startup. So some of our processes are manual and we need those automated if we want to scale and meet the demands that our customers are asking for us. So that's one big challenge. Obviously, we have entered a space with humongous legacy companies like Babylist, Amazon Baby Registry. Every major retailer, or Walmart, Target, what have you, has a baby registry platform on their site. So we're up against humongous competitors, and we knew that entering this space. So that's obviously a huge challenge. Acquiring customers is always challenging, right? Because we don't have like this huge ad budget. So we have to get really creative on acquiring them on different platforms that hopefully are free. So yeah, automating some of our systems and processes, going up against giants, and constantly acquiring new customers. Like we want to keep going like this. We hit an inflection point in March. And so how do we keep up and to the right is a challenge, I think, for any startup trying to survive.
So are you running ads right now? Or like because you mentioned, obviously early on that you were doing Reddit or Facebook, different like free platforms. Are you running ads? Like what has been the most effective channel like at this moment for acquiring new customers?
Yeah, there's two. TikTok, number one, believe it or not. We did a 30-day series on like how to build your baby registry with the right stuff, not more stuff. And that was a 30-day series. And that like exponentially exploded. The virality and reach on TikTok is like unmatched. Instagram, it's just different. So TikTok's number one. And then earlier this year, when Bye Bye Baby filed for bankruptcy, they had to withdraw their sponsorship from a national conference called the Prego Expo. And we were approached by the Prego Expo to take over Bye Bye Baby sponsorship. So it's been such a crazy year for us. One, taking over a sponsorship from, a legacy company like Bye Bye Baby. And that was our first really like activation in person. So we've been to San Diego, Chicago. I leave on Saturday for Orlando and then Atlanta, and then we go to LA. So the Prego Expo has been our second biggest customer acquisition channel because we are now in a position to be in front of thousands of expecting parents pretty much across the country through the rest of the year. So that's been pretty remarkable. I joke that it would have been like startup suicide to say no at that opportunity. And I'm just so thankful that they thought we were in a position to really serve their customers and, other sponsors there. So it's been pretty awesome.
It's amazing. So what kind of reactions do people get like when you're actually at these expos talking to them in person, explaining about your product?
I mean, I feel like I've done sales, right? I was in inside sales. That was my first job out of college. So I think the most important thing for me when I'm interacting with these people is like, I'm not trying to sell them anything. I'm just trying to connect with them and share about my own experience. And it resonates with people. When you connect with people, they're more likely to be interested and maybe use your service or buy your product. But the reaction is always like, oh my gosh, I wish I thought of that. You know what I mean? And so like that feels very validating. Or we're solving problems and pain points that they're experiencing with another registry provider. So we will transfer the registries to Poppylist on site at these conferences, which has been really, really fun and like the perfect way to like poach people, which it's a fair game, but the response has been really positive. And I think the other thing that's really important to mention is my co-founder is also a dad. I'm a mom. Obviously, I have two kids, two daughters, they're 4 and 1. And being so close to the life stage that our customers are in is such a differentiator for us. And my co-founder just had a second daughter. She's like a month and a half old. So we are our customer. And I think our customers see themselves in us and vice versa. And it's just like the perfect timing, right? To be in this business, to have started this company, meet our customers face to face. And yeah, we are our customers. Like that sounds kind of silly, but we really are.
Obviously in this industry, it can be one challenge for sure is that you don't have like a recurring model, right? Because it's like once somebody has a kid and they wouldn't, unless they have more kids, then they would use you. It's like, what do you think is a good way or something that you're utilizing in terms of like scalability? Is it more referral, like parents know, like other parents, like what is one method that, like you're looking into?
Yeah, I think that I get this question, like the customer lifecycle value, yada, yada, yada. Okay, well, there's still 4 million people having first-time babies every single year. The growth chart for new births has hardly decreased. And then, you've got baby sprinkle, which is like the second-time baby shower if you're a second or third-time parent. And those searches are up like 700% on Pinterest. Like people are still celebrating the birth of their kids the second and third time. But we also have a webinar series. So we see people come back to our site constantly to join our webinar series that maybe we can monetize in the future for additional resources and advice as their kids get older. And then of course, we've talked about, well, there's no reason they can't turn their baby registry into their kid's first birthday registry when those inevitably are going to happen. And your aunts and uncles and grandparents are, well, what's your daughter want for her first birthday? So I think that there's a lot of unique things that we can think about doing. We also have a subscription service inside the registry platform called Ask Poppy. She's an AI model that's been trained to support people on their pregnancy journey and beyond. So you can pretty much ask Poppy any question under the sun. How much caffeine can I have during my pregnancy? What's a safe exercise postpartum? So that's really unique. No other registry has that sort of offering. So there's quite a few things that we're thinking about building just to keep people coming back, which of course we want, but I also know that there's 4 million people having babies every single year.
No, yeah, that makes sense. I think the idea of first birthday party or second birthday party, that's a really smart idea. It's kind of an outside the box idea, and it creates a sort of like SaaS model for people to subscribe when their kids turn 1, 2, etc.
Yeah. So it's a great way, I think, to keep them engaged and to serve them content as their kids get older. And, we know their due dates. And now we have that it's such valuable data. And now we know when their kid's going to be 1 and 2 and 3, and how can we think about serving them the right content at the right stages of their life. So that's all in the works. It's not happening yet, but I'm pretty confident that it will.
What is your top business priority now going into Q4 of 2023?
Oh my gosh, our top business priority going into the rest of the year. We have one feature that we have been, I'm not going to share what it is because no other registry platform has it, but it's the one thing that we've been asked over and over and over from our customers that we're working on building. So getting that feature out and available for them is priority numero uno for sure. I feel like, it's so fun, like in this world, everything feels like a competing priority, but obviously getting the feature that people have been asking for 100 times over is number one. And then I would say a close second is one of our systems that we work in and use every single day. There's still some parts that are really manual. And so getting my co-founder and our developers overseas really focused to finish that, I think is going to help us really scale moving into next year.
Makes sense. What would you say is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started this company?
The one piece of advice I wish I knew. God, there's so many. I think the one thing I would tell someone, or there's just like not one single approach to doing this. And I don't care who you follow on Twitter, what books you read, like there is no single blueprint on how your startup should start. I think success looks different for a lot of people, but my route is so unconventional. I'm not a technical founder. I met my co-founder on Product Hunt. There's just so many ways to do it. I wish I hadn't read. I feel like I wasted a little bit of time reading all these stupid books and then thinking to myself, well, that doesn't really apply to me, or that doesn't make sense. And I think I would have just stuck to my gut. Of course, there's some much smarter people than I, and I could have maybe spent more time with them, but I think I would have liked to know. I wish someone would have told me, do what you think is best. There really is no one single right way to start a startup.
100%. Like for me, like my story is sort of similar. I actually met my co-founder on Fiverr. So
oh, nice.
Even more unconventional. And he lives in Pakistan. We've never met in person. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I only met my co-founder 3 times in person. So you can create a successful company with people who like fully remote, completely distributed. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, especially now in 2023, like to your point, it's like people say it's like my company or even your company is a very like 2023 type of company.
So it completely is. Like we were a company created in COVID, and that's so obvious.
So if we're going to have this conversation again in 1 year from now, where do you expect things to go for the business?
I expect to partner with a handful of major e-commerce platforms that hopefully will be white labeling or whitelisting our registry platform and just serving thousands and thousands of more parents. Every registry platform is the same. It's such an important milestone for people that they feel prepared to welcome a kid in this world. And if we can just leave more people feeling just a little bit more confident that they have the right stuff to bring their baby home to a safe and comfortable environment, I feel like we'll have won the lottery.
So if somebody watching this wanted to reach out to you, do you mind sharing your website or social media handle, just the best way to get in contact with you?
Yeah. Website is poppylist.com, poppylist.com. My email is Sarah, Sarah, @poppylist.com. You can follow us on Instagram. It's @Poppylist. And TikTok is Poppylist Registry. So those are the main ways that people can get in touch.
Awesome. Well, Sarah, we're rooting for you. Thank you so much for your time today. And
Thanks,
I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Have a good one.
Thanks, you too. All right. Bye.